promoting businesses and organizations to help them reach their full potential, lighting the path to the success of your business, enhancing the lives of our listeners by talking about things that matters most, helping you to shine your light emotionally, mentally, spiritually, socially, and physically, spreading positive vibes. You've got it locked, and you're listening to Lyte Vibrations, brought to you by Lyte Communications right here on CBN Radio 90.9 FM. And now your host and our director, Natasha Letza.
Hello, you got it locked and you're listening to Lyte Vibrations here, chilling with me, Tasha T, aka Roxy, here with another episode of Lyte Vibrations. Today we have our guest is a financial specialist. Yes, the new year just turned, and I know a lot of your resolutions as well as mine is to, be out of debt, is for financial freedom. And what better way to bring in 2020 than to get a financial specialist here on the program here to show us just how to do that. Welcome, Trevon.
Hi, good day, everybody. I'm pleased to be here to be able to share whatever knowledge that I have to help anyone to become more financially efficient in their lives.
Mm-hmm. Well, awesome. Pleasure is us to have you here on the program. We're definitely going to pick your brain because too often we find, people are just repeating the cycle of debt. We want to be financially free. We want to be able to do things that, our hearts desire, but we can't do that because we're strapped for cash. You got our backs here today, so we're going to pick your brain to make sure we could get every ounce of knowledge out of you so we can have, better lives moving forward. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and your expertise.
Okay, again, my name is Trevon Smith. I'm born and raised in the BVI, and my background is 100% finance. I started as a junior accountant many years ago in a trust company, and then I was able to move on, step into the investment field as an investment officer, also as a retail banker with another banking institution, and today I am a credit analyst with another financial institution. So my background in finance as a professional is wide ranging, and on the personal side, I'm more of a student of the financial markets, where I invest in stocks, I invest in bonds, and I trade currencies, and I follow all the economic stuff that goes on in the world. So my experience, my knowledge, and my reach is pretty much wide ranging.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's awesome. Definitely. I know I heard you speak at the Agri Health and Wellness Expo, and you impressed me so much. I said, no, I have to get him on the show because, we need to know this. We need to know what's going on with our finances and how, to take charge of them so we can live the type of lives that we want to live. So we're going to start off this interview by asking, where are we going wrong as it pertains to financing?
I would say it has to do with vision. What is the vision that you have for your life? What does a wealthy life entail for you? What is wealth to you? Everyone has to ask themselves those type of questions before we can actually drop a plan. Mm-hmm. For some people, it's not being able to work a 9 to 5 and working for themselves. For others, it may not to do any work at all. Mm-hmm. For some other people, is just to have an extra few dollars in the pocket or in the account every month, so they can live comfortably and live the life the way that they want to live. So people first must have a vision, and once you have a vision, now the next step that you need to do is create actionable goals or actionable steps or plan to ensure that vision comes to pass. So whether that may be, instituting a budget to monitor your spending, or investing in the financial markets, increasing your financial IQ, create an actionable plan with actionable steps so you can begin to move towards that vision or that goal that you want to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. Well, we talk about vision, it's kind of hard to see past the bills, right?
Yeah, right.
So, a lot of people here, despite they claim that we have a decent GDP, finance is still a problem. The money is a problem. So how do you have vision when you're struggling living paycheck to paycheck? And for persons who are living paycheck to paycheck, how can they start that plan? Because if you live in and you could barely make get your bills paid and your expenses paid, how can you have vision?
The first step is to increase your financial IQ, and you have to understand what options are out there available to you. Now, I was in that predicament many years ago, as you alluded to, where at one point I was so financially strapped, where I lost my job, unfortunately, I think at the age of 23 or 24, and I was not able to get anything for about 6 to 7 months. And at that time, I was actually the highest income earner in my household. So, that put pressure on everybody else that was living with me at that time. And bills were stacking up. I had debt at the bank, and it was really difficult for me. But one of the things that I realized is that I have the power to take control of my circumstance. And when I moved from acting like a victim to begin to say, you know what, I'm going to conquer this thing, that is the point where my life began to change. I began to read articles on the internet about how to create wealth. I did try my hand at different businesses, even though, yes, they all flopped. Still, I was making an effort. And another thing that I did was I leveled up my education. And for the people that's working a 9 to 5 and you're finding it, hard to become financially efficient and live the life that you want to live, you have to boost your education. You have to boost your knowledge, because that is a gateway for you to be able to earn more. You see? So, we can't live a life where we're blaming the government and just blaming the environment and all that stuff. There's too much opportunity for us to just jump in and take advantage wherever we are to begin to make a change. And, I'm a Christian. I believe in the Word of God. And I promise you, when you begin to make a step moving towards your purpose and, increasing your abilities in different places, God is going to bless you by opening new doors. Okay, and that's the same thing that He did for me as well. I started working at Walmart when I lost my job. After 8 months of job searching, everybody turned me down, and I was a stock boy. And I came from making an income of, let's just say, I won't call it a number, let's just say my income was slashed more than 50%. I was making a low income for 3 to 4 months. And after that, I studied sales, and I was looking for sales jobs, because I realized for me to get back to that place of earning what I was earning before I lost my job, I need to have a job where I was selling something. So I improved my sales ability, I improved my customer service ability, and then the opportunity to work for Little Switzerland came about. So from December of that year, 2010, to about the next year, December, I was working at Little Switzerland, learning how to sell watches on the fly. And I would go home and study, because again, this was a commissionable job. I earned a base salary, and I had about 7.5% or 8% commission on things that I sold. So of course, the opportunity was there to make big money. It was just for me now to capitalize on it by increasing my knowledge. And once I began to increase my knowledge, about 3 months after I got that job, I earned $5,000 in 1 month at the age of 25 with no college experience, no degree, and barely any sales experience. Okay? And I was able to actually have a decent living at that point in time. So, in order for us to move towards that goal, we need to stop acting like victims and take advantage of any opportunity that comes our way.
And I definitely love that message, Javon. Stop acting like a victim. That's resonating so well with me, because too often in our lives, we're reactive participants.
Right.
It's like everybody do something to you except you doing to yourself.
Right.
And sometimes we take more energy in complaining and having a negative outlook on the way we look at things, the way we look at our finances, our life, and we stress out ourselves just looking back on something that we cannot change, but you say stop being a victim, empower yourself, use that same energy to think about solutions, to
That's
think
right.
about how you're going to move yourself forward, to think
right.
about plans and plays, like you said, educating yourself, and trying to find your purpose. Now,
Yes.
I also like the part that you talk about, your Christianity and your belief in God, your faith and all of that, and finding your purpose. And the Bible also says your purpose will make your way.
Yes.
I mean, what you have, but the thing is, people can't say what their purpose is, and sometimes it's hard to recognize what your talents are. So how do you go about, coming out of this reactive victim state to a more empowering state, finding your purpose and getting on your way?
Again, it really starts with just being fed up of being fed up. And the second part, I would say, you have to ask yourself questions. No, you have to ask yourself questions like, what is going on in the world that frustrates me the most? What is going on around the community and in other people's lives that frustrates me? What can I help people with? And when you ask yourself questions like these, and again, I'm going to reference my Christianity. As you pray and as you talk to God about these things, God is going to give you a vision. You see, He's going to give you ideas. People are going to come and share things about you that God wants to do in your life, or how God wants to use you. They're going to come and share that information with you. Mm-hmm. So just to go back and give my testimony, in 2010 when I lost my job and I was able to climb out of that stinking thinking of being a victim, I began to seek the face of the Lord. And actually, God told me specifically that I'm going to be helping people with their finances. And of course, at that time, I did not look like a person that's going to help anybody financially and give them strategies, because I needed strategies and I needed help. Mm-hmm. But I never stayed there. I continued seeking out about it, and I built myself up with knowledge and information. I sought mentors. I sought courses, and I kept building and building and building until I'm actually in this seat right now. Mm-hmm. Again, no college degree. Okay? All because it started with a word from God about my purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Amen to that. Let's talk about this plan. Okay, so we out of the reactive state. We stop being victims. We're looking around. We're trying to increase our financial IQ, and we're trying to, look towards the niches or things that we're passionate about to try to provide service, or
Right.
maybe we could even talk about entrepreneurship as a part of that. But help us to establish this plan to get out of debt or to have financial freedom moving forward.
Okay, the first thing you need to do is actually take hold of your budget. Now, I think at the conference you heard me speaking to recently, I threw out the word budget because I realized what is a bad word to most people. Because when you have budget, people think about restrictions and they're feeling like a pauper, they can't enjoy their life, and that's not true. If you think about budgets in a business sense, a business cannot grow without having a budget, because they use a budget to plan how they can allocate resources effectively so they could earn more revenues. You see? So what I've done now is I've called a budget a statement of financial priority. Meaning now you're taking your finances, you're taking your income and saying, look, I have this list of priorities, and I'm now, instead of serving money and making it run my life, I am going to make money a servant and tell it what to go. So money, you have to pay XYZ bills at XYZ time, on time. Money, we're going to put you in an account so you could earn more interest, because I need to get to a point where I can live off of passive income. Money, I'm going to put you into an insurance policy that if something, God forbid, something happens to me, my family and my assets are retained and well taken care of after my demise. Money, I'm going to put you into the financial markets so you can compound and make more of yourself. Because this is a thing that I shared about people when it comes to money. Money is an awesome servant and a terrible master. It's an awesome servant because it never sleeps. It's always working. It's always exchanging hands. But as a master, it will make sure that you will never sleep. It dictates where you travel. It dictates the lifestyle that you live. It dictates the clothes that you wear. It dictates everything about your life. So it's a veritable master. And the only way for you to now move from that point of having money as your master is to create a financial priority statement. Instead of a budget. We're not going to call it a budget anymore. Financial priority statement.
I love it. But we're going to have to go down this statement and just talk about, some of the issues with it. Like, for instance, insurance. I know, Black people we don't really like this life insurance. We see so much happen, so many things happening within other cultures that live and die by insurance. People try to hustle them to die. It's to me it's like a negative connotation around having life insurance.
Right.
Like, you feel even if you have it, you keep it a secret because you don't want nobody to kill you to benefit from your money. I mean, how do we get away from that type of mentality?
I mean, again, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. I mean, you could take some time to research the benefits of insurance. Yes, there are some scams that go around when it comes to insurance. But again, it's all about research and doing your due diligence. But having insurance is actually very, very, very important. Life insurance, because it's the most efficient way for you to transfer wealth to your dependents. The most efficient way. Secondly, life insurance acts as a risk management tool. Now, say for instance, you want to create assets, right? That you could collateralize with the bank, right? You could now go out and get a cash value policy, which is a universal policy or a whole life policy, whatever is being sold right now in the BVI. I think it's universal life is being sold. And while you're paying money towards a death benefit, which will go to your heirs in the case of your unfortunate demise, you are also on another section of the policy building cash value that you could either withdraw, borrow against, or use as collateral with the bank. So, life insurance is an asset. I recommend everybody to get it. The sooner you can get it, it'll be best for your family.
Nice. And what about interest? Now, you say put some of the money to work for you, but when you look around these banks, they take more money out of your account when you don't have enough money in it. And when it comes to interest, they're giving you 16 cents. So having your money in the bank really ain't working for you because you're gaining nothing. So how do you make your money gain interest for you?
Again, and you're gonna have me keep re-emphasizing this. Knowledge is power. You have to recognize for the last 10 years, we have been in a low interest rate environment where the Federal Reserve has actually lowered rates to the lowest levels in history. So it's the Federal Reserve rate is where the banks base their lending and their deposit rates on. So the lower the rate, of course, the lower the cost to borrow, and the lower the cost that the interest you're going to receive when you deposit money. What that has done, and what the mission of the Federal Reserve has been, is to push more money into the financial markets, like the stock market and the bond market, so people can take more risk to earn more of a return. So, unfortunately, some people don't like stocks because they've heard bad stories of people losing money, or they watch the news with the doom and gloom. The stock market historically has returned between 8 and 10% per annum. Now, you're not going to get an 8% or a 10% return every year. It's an average. Some years you're going to earn 30%. Like last year, I think the S&P 500 did about 30%. And some years you're going to get 5. Some years you're going to lose some. But on average, over the decade, it has returned about 8 to 10%. So if you want to earn more money on any capital that you have lying around in your savings account, I recommend investing it into the financial markets so you can earn a return.
So now, how do we get involved in that type of investment? I mean, where locally can you go to invest? How do you even go about? How do you know where to invest? Because I know very little about investments, but there are the high risk ones, the lower risk ones. I mean, how do you go about even starting the process, or where do we even begin?
You could start your research with all of your local banks, because some may have investment programs where you can put up a minimal capital, a minimal starting amount, and then you could do a monthly subsequent investment into whatever mutual funds or plans that they may have. And secondly, MWM, I believe, also has a financial an investment plan as well for individuals, where again they can deposit a certain amount and subsequently add to it every month or every quarter, however they were able to set it up. And those funds go into mutual funds or into individual securities. Again, you have to do your research to see exactly how the money is being allocated and what are the costs and things of that nature.
So if I was your mother and I came to you and said, son, I have $5,000 here laying here making 16 cents from the bank, what would you do with it? Take it for me, invest it, I want double. Tell me what you would do if I was your mother coming to you and I just gave you $5,000.
$5,000 for my mom. Okay, I'm gonna try not to be sophisticated, because when I worked in the investment industry, one of the things that I had a problem with is that investment plans were offered to individuals as a cookie cutter type of service. And whereas I believe not everybody's going to fit the same mold. Everybody needs to have a tailor-made service or plan that's suited to them and their vision. So it comes back to their vision. And I'm going to draw a reference. Somebody that does not want to put a lot of effort later on down in their life, except for instance, I'm going to veer a bit from your example. Somebody that's 20 years old and they say, when I hit 50 or 60, I don't want to have a job, I don't want to have a business, I just want to travel. That person needs to invest in things where they're going to earn a lot of cash flow, right? So maybe real estate might not be the best bet. Maybe you need to put your money into the stock market or in stocks that pay a high rate of dividend. So when you reach at the age of 50 and 60, you can do what you want, because every quarter or every month, depending on what you invest in, dividends are coming towards your account, and they are paying for all of your life expenditure. Now back to the case of my mom, I would invest my mother's funds at her age I would invest it in dividend stocks, because number one, they're not very volatile. They don't move a lot, or they don't decrease a lot. But dividend stocks have a tendency of increasing the dividends every year depending on the performance of the company. A very good example would be Coca-Cola, who has not had a dividend, who has actually enjoyed a dividend increase probably for the last 40 years. Every year they increase the dividends. And that in itself is a very hidden strategy that a lot of people don't understand, where they invest in stocks that increase the dividend year over year, because that, of course, that's like getting a pay increase. Imagine you're not doing anything, and the company that you invested in is increasing your payments year over year. So investments like that I would invest in on her behalf. Also bonds as well, because I believe that bonds are still a very good investment. The type of bonds would be the corporate bonds, AAA bonds. I think U.S. companies are still some of the best companies in the world to invest in as it relates to bonds.
And I can't believe how quick this time is going by. Before we come to the end of the program, I want to talk a bit about retirement. Sometimes we're in the now, and we live lavish lives. We think it's okay to live from paycheck to paycheck. Sometimes we're not really putting any effort into increasing our wealth, increasing our finances, and then we get to an age of retirement, but we can't retire. We still probably paying the bank for the house, and all these other issues associated with retirement, and the lowering of your income at that age. I mean, what tips or how do we go about to ensure that we have enough retirement, so that we don't have to depend on our children, or don't find ourselves in poverty after we already worked 30, 40, 50 years of our lives? What are some tips you can share?
Okay, I'm going to approach your question in 3 categories. I'm going to start from the young people straight up to people that's either nearing retirement or at retirement. So for the young people, again, you need to have a vision for your life. You need to decide what kind of life you want to live when your prime years are over. So I would recommend, one of the strategies I've actually employed, let me say this. I look at how my budget runs, and I also project it into the future. Statement of financial priority. I look at how it runs, and I project it into the future. And I think about what expenses do I need to encounter after my prime working years. And I take that number, I times it by 12, right, which would be my annual expenditure for each year. And what I will do is divide that by 1%, or actually by 5%, which would be the income rate for bonds. So let me just do a simple calculation right now, and I'll give you an idea. Now, say for instance, if my expenditure every month is, from all of my household necessities, comes up to $50,000, right? I will take that and times that by 12. So $24,000 per year. I'm expected to pay this amount on my household expenditures. At this point, I can just live easy, right? So what I will do to determine how much money I need to retire is I will take that number, 24,000, and divide it by 5%. 5% represents an average annual payout by bond dividends plus interest plus capital gains. So if I were to invest in bonds, based on the environment right now, I would be sure to receive a 5% payout per annum. That gives me $480,000 simply in capital that I need to invest or accumulate into a bond fund or into individual bonds that would enable me to now receive $24,000 per year for the rest of my life. Now, there are some nuances to it, in the sense of bonds sometimes may pay out less or more, but it's just a general guideline to determine how much money would I need to accumulate so I can retire comfortably. That's for the young people. For the people that are nearing retirement or the middle-aged prime workers, I would recommend they increase their savings as much as they can. Try to cut back on things that are unnecessary. The things that kills a lot of people a lot of times, where they say they don't have money to invest, is that the frivolous expenses. Reduce your eating out, reduce the travel, the unnecessary travel. Reduce buying very expensive clothing. That's the thing that kills people, because we like to look good, and it's a BVI thing, unfortunately, carrier thing. We like to wear brands, you see, and what we wear does not represent what's in our account.
Right.
Oftentimes, I used to be a victim of that. That's why I could speak from experience. So, one of the things that we have to do, there's nothing wrong with wearing generic brands. Absolutely nothing. Because it will be better for you to have more money in your accounts working for you than you having clothes on your back that's worth a lot of money. But when the end of the winter part of your years, your life comes, you don't have anything to live on.
Yeah.
So, I would recommend cut back on clothing, eating out, try to cook more, eat less.
Talk about the rum.
Yeah, no drinking. No drinking. Try as best as you can to also live a healthy lifestyle, because again, sickness and disease again is a big expenditure. I mean, pharmaceutical companies are making billions off of sickness, and that's something that really kills budgets. So I would recommend also try as best as you can to live a very healthy life, and invest all you can into the financial markets, and start a side hustle or a side business. That's for the people that are in the middle category between almost ready to retire but not quite ready to retire. So for the people now that are at retirement age, you have to determine what is the replacement rate at Social Security, which is how much would Social Security pay you while you're on retirement, and also try to find ways where you can have side hustles that doesn't require a lot of time, like something where you could do consulting. Maybe you could do baking, you could open a store, small things that you can do with the skills you've gained over the years, so you could earn, some income, as well as you could go ahead and invest in as well. You would not invest like how the younger people would invest, because again, your mode right now is all about income, getting as much income as you can. So you would invest in bonds, dividend paying stocks, and things of that nature.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Trevon, for coming on the program today, and definitely this was awesome. Appreciate, the information you shared with us, and hopefully it will empower a lot of us to move forward to a place of financial freedom. I'll give you this opportunity now to make any final thoughts.
All right, thank you. I just want to thank you for the opportunity to share my knowledge. Again, this is part of my purpose. I want to ensure that everybody lives their dreams and their visions and their goals and become financially efficient. And to all the listeners out there, God bless you. Please work on your statements of financial priority this year. Cut any unnecessary spending and invest as much as you can into the financial markets, and start a side hustle. Any skills that you have. God bless you.
Blessings, double blessings coming from us here at Lyte Communications. And once again, we'd like to thank you for tuning in, and share this interview with a friend, a family, somebody that you care about and you want to see financially free for 2020. So once again, thank you for listening, and blessings.
Thank you for tuning in to Lyte Vibrations, and don't forget to tune in this time next week as we continue to bring you life-changing information. Until next time, shine your light.